Good evening, everybody. It is Monday. It is 8 o'clock. That must mean it's time for Total Evercade Podcast, episode 19. 19 weeks this has been going. Unbelievable. Can't
Wasn't that
believe
a
it.
song, No, 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 19, by, I can't remember who it was by, but it's a fairly famous song.
But we 1 minute 6 in and the first tangent has arrived.
It is.
Unsure. If anyone knows that, do let us know.
It is a famous
Um,
song.
okay. Okay. I believe you. I believe you.
It is.
Before we dive into the chat, because there's a lot of people in already, which is great, and some new names in here as well, which is wonderful to see. We have got on the show tonight Mr. Ryan.
Good evening. Evening, if you know the name. Oh, Paul Hardcastle. See, someone's got it in there.
There we go. Beautiful. Thank you, Brazer. And also, always our guest of honor, Mr. Sir Top and Hat, Mr. Derek. How are you, good sir?
Great to be here. Yeah, excited for tonight. Episode
Indeed,
19.
I know. Edging in on that 20, and then we're into, the high numbers. Then we're into 20 episodes. Can't quite believe it. Obviously, we are missing Blunners tonight. He's otherwise engaged, so hopefully he may turn up later. We shall see. So I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on the chat and keep things moving. So in this evening, we have got Mr. Skipkins. Always wonderful to see you, good sir. I hope you are well. We've got Mr. Taylor. Always good to have Mr. Taylor in about. We've got Dan in the house. We have got Vernon. Nice to see you, Vernon, here for the first time. You are very, very welcome here. We've got Mr. Ziggy. We've got Mr. Al Sternhammer. How are you doing, good sir? We have the Crazy Burger. Wonderful to see you. Mr. Al Low. Wow, the place is absolutely filled out tonight. We've got Gene Joke. We've got literally everyone. Jay South, and then Ryan's pal there, Brazar, who's managed to come in there with the Paul Hardcastle comment. Fantastic stuff. We've got Mr. Adam H. Welcome, Mr. Adam. It's good to see you. And we have also got Arnold. Wonderful to see you too, sir. Oh, and sneaking in there just before I stop there, Mr. Lamney Pie. Wonderful to see you as always. Yeah, a lot of people in tonight. So, yeah, you are all very, very welcome. As always, if you've got any questions or any random stuff you want us to talk about, we can get to that at the end. So please bung stuff in the chat and we will get them started and try and get to them at the end. But yeah, as always, let's kick it off with one of the best topics. What have you been playing in the latest news? So, Ryan, let's start with you tonight. What have you been playing?
Well, I was lucky enough to be sent a copy of Irem by a certain Paul Cotton from the Evercade Hangout. He posted that he had 2 copies and asked if anyone wanted it. And I said I didn't have a copy, but as an admin of the group, I was like, "No, let someone else have it." But everyone was so kind in that group; they were like, "No, you were the first to comment. You can have it." So, Paul Cotton, I'm not sure if he's a relation to Dot and Nick Cotton, but he might well be. He kindly sent me a copy of Irem Arcades, and I've not got an EXP, and I won't be getting an EXP. So this was a cartridge which I never picked up. So yeah, really, really chuffed. And so people say there's no kindness in the world. There is, because sent that to me, didn't want anything. Pay for postage, top guy. So yeah, I've been playing this. 10-yard fight I really enjoyed. I can't remember, someone put that in the Evercade Hangout, that it's a really addictive American football game.
Okay.
Tricky, but also when you can get your quarterback and get a really good throw and get 10 yards forward or even further forward, it is really, really addictive. Hard as nails though, but yeah, good. I've played In the Hunt, which graphically is very, very good, but there's just enemies swarm you. It's to the point where it's a nice game, but it's very, very difficult. But yeah, I've been enjoying that. And R-Type as well, obviously, is the game that this collection was sold on. But again, it's so difficult on the Evercade. It's just, the difficulty must be set to the maximum level. And I know you've got unlimited credits, but R-Type actually takes you back when you die, so it is quite tricky. But yeah, as I say, really chuffed to get a free cartridge, and it's kept me occupied over the last few days.
Very cool. Like you say, people say kindness doesn't exist, but there it is. It's in the Hangout. So anyone that isn't already, please do head on over to the Evercade Hangout. It's a great fun time. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good conversations always going on in over there. Yeah, fantastic. What a lovely bit of news to kick it off with. Mr. Derek, what have you been playing?
Well, it's about a year on now since Cathedral and Aura's Awakening. So I thought I'd be going back to Cathedral this last week and really giving that the blasting it deserves. I mean, we're talking about a massive handcrafted world here. Beautiful pixelated artwork, old school challenge. And to top it off, you've got great bosses that are guarding the treasure. Now, I'm a huge Cathedral fan, and I've got everything you could possibly imagine to do with the game. I've got the soundtrack CD, I've got the guidebooks, I've got the collector's cards. I absolutely love it. So yeah, a chance like this to go back a year on and reconquer it again and just see all that. Every time I go through it, I just have an epic experience. It doesn't matter how many times I see it, the adventure just unfolds, and I really, really love it. So yeah, this week has been all about Cathedral, and I try not to put too much time in, too heavy every day, but you know, I do put a good hour or so in there, and yeah, I'm pretty advanced in how I can go around and pick up all the items, a little bit ahead of the story now, and I just absolutely love it. So yeah, this week has been all about Deborn Games and their fantastic game Cathedral.
Nice, absolutely superb, very well put as well. I haven't been able to give Cathedral the love that I want to yet, so it is up on the list of things that I've got to play with all the other stuff that there is to play. There's just so many games, so many games. With it being spooky season, and I'm sort of midway through a game on my PS5, so it's like I don't really want to fire up some new stuff on the PS5. So, like I did last year, I went back over the Splatterhouse 2 and 3 purely because Splatterhouse 3 was one of the games that I remember seeing as a kid and never getting to play until being an adult, because getting a actual physical copy of that is expensive. And I don't know if it came out in Europe either. I don't remember seeing it. I remember the American, the Genesis box, but you know, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember Splatterhouse 3 getting a UK release. So yeah, I went back over those two. They're just timeless, mindless fun for me. It's just you and a hockey mask beating the crap out of zombies with a big bat. What's not to like? It's gruesome and it's gory and it's delightful. And I also went over the first sort of couple of hours of Dedius as well, trying to keep into spooky season, because I really like that game. It's, you know, it looks and feels very much like the old school Pokemon games on the Game Boy. It's just not. It's absolutely fantastic. Really cool, really good little story as well. Quite disturbing in parts as well. I just thoroughly enjoy that game. So for any horror fans out there, get yourselves on the Namco cart and the original Indie Heroes for Dedius. So kicking off topics tonight.
Is there any
Ryan's
news?
coming in.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
news.
Has Derek got any Evercade news for us over the last couple of weeks?
No, I don't think there's been anything particularly exciting at the minute, unfortunately. So yeah, other than obviously they're pulling forward the Good Boy Galaxy and the Demons of Aztaburg cartridges, obviously, to the 28th, where Duke Nukem collections are releasing. Yeah, I don't think there's really anything much to say at the minute.
Okay, so the next bit could be considered news, or it's hot topic anyway, and it's going to be an interesting discussion. So obviously in the chat, you know, please feel free to throw your 2 pence in there, but keep it friendly, keep it happy. So the Full Void Amazon issues. So for most people that have ordered Full Void Special Edition from Amazon, there appears to have been some confusion and some miscommunication, and a lot of people are having their cartridges cancelled, the orders just completely cancelled, and that's leaving a lot of people without the game, or without that version of the game. Yeah, so I first heard this from Ryan. I believe we were at work and you said something about it, and then you got an email that said yours had been cancelled. So what did your email say?
Well, I initially Derek messaged me first and said that Amazon full void orders had been cancelled, the special edition. And at that time, I just looked at the message and didn't really think of anything of it. Then 10 minutes later, I got the dreaded email come through from Amazon. I don't know if I've still got the email here, actually. I've probably deleted it. But it was along the lines of, oh yeah, item cancelled. Here we go. So it's just due to lack of availability, we will not be able to obtain the following item, as in full void special edition, from your order. We've cancelled the item and apologise for the inconvenience. And then it goes on to say, if you see a charge, they'll refund you. So yeah, it is disappointing, because we've obviously had the full void team on, and I was looking forward to having the collector's edition. But then equally, like I said to you off air, I have completed the game, and I was lucky enough to be gifted a Steam code for the game. So in effect, I've played the game for free. So I can't really sit here and say I've been hard done by or anything, because I don't think I have. And what I also put in the Evercade Hangout as well, if you have had the special edition cancelled and you like to order things from Amazon, go and order the 17.99 edition. You've saved yourself £7, and put that towards another cartridge, or go and buy a loved one or something a gift with that extra £7, and then you're on to a winner. You're getting a really good game for 17.99, and you're making someone happy as well with the extra £7-8. So yeah, it's disappointing. I think it's probably been a mix-up between Amazon and Blaze with how many were available, but it's just one of those things, isn't it? We can sit here and moan about it, but it's not going to change. It's not going to magic up copies for anyone.
No.
I am frustrated, but I don't want to sit here and just slag everyone off and everything off, because it's not gonna change anything, unfortunately. But like I say, the game is still available, the standard edition, and it's a really good game. And the guys it's Out of the Bit, isn't it, who make it's Out of the Bit who make Full Void. They've put a lot of time and effort into this game, so just pick up the standard edition and just enjoy it. You're only missing out on a magazine and some art cards, or some stickers. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, well, that's quite eloquently put, Ryan. I have to admit, sometimes it's just remembering what's important, putting things in check. Yes, frustrating. People are allowed to be frustrated and annoyed by it, but yeah, don't let it completely ruin the experience of what is a great game.
I see here, Dan Nastastic. Let me just put this pro tip: never ever pre-order carts from Amazon. But I've never had an issue with Amazon, and Amazon are pretty solid. Like I've ordered the new Mario game, for example, for my daughter for Christmas from Amazon, and it arrived ahead of release date. So these things, obviously, Amazon do deliver big company items on time. So there's clearly an issue between Blaze and Amazon, and I don't know what it is. But to solely say never order anything from Amazon, I don't agree with that at all. They don't take the money up front to start with, and people don't want to pay £26 to fund stock and then sit on it for 6 months. So it's nice for people to have an option.
Yeah, I mean, Derek. I mean, Mr. Skipkins here has pretty much hit the nail on the head there with the information. But Derek, yeah, if you want to come in there, I know that you have the reason behind what seems to have happened and how it's sort of affected certain people with their orders.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'd just like to apologise to anybody that has missed out on Full Void Special Edition. Blaze notified Amazon with a date that they should take down the pre-orders. And unfortunately, Amazon didn't actually action that. So they allowed it to run over 3 days. And in those 3 days, obviously, people were still merrily pre-ordering. And then, obviously, when it got back to Blaze with the addresses, obviously, there were more than was actually quoted. So then they had to get Amazon to knock some people off. Now, my way of doing it would have been last in, first to go. But unfortunately, Amazon took the approach, I think, of knocking people off at the beginning. So people that had ordered within, say, the first 30 seconds, things like that, had actually been knocked off. I've had a lot of people that told me, well, I ordered within, the first couple of minutes of it going live, and for some reason they seem to have been the ones missing. So I'm not quite sure how Amazon did it, but Blaze Entertainment are looking into it, I can let you know, and they're trying to get to the bottom of that. And as I say, I wouldn't completely write off perhaps a second run at some point, but at the moment, as I say, Blaze has got to get all the facts together of exactly what went wrong there at Amazon. But yeah, I do really feel for people, and I will have one here live on the show, probably for the next show, and we'll do a small unboxing here so people can actually see what was in there that perhaps missed out. But as I say, that'll probably be on the next show.
Yeah. So I think I'm one of the few lucky ones, probably with Gene Joke there, in that I ordered after Ryan. I think I ordered the day after Ryan, actually, and mine appears to still be coming. I've got an email that says there's a supply issue and they'll be updating me, and then the next email I got was saying, yeah, basically it's going to arrive a little bit early, 15th of November, I think they said, and that's basically when mine's meant to be arriving. So I'm obviously one of the lucky ones that hasn't been affected from Amazon. So moving forward, I think I'll still pre-order my regular carts from Amazon, but I think this is a bit of a heads up for me. So if there is some future special editions of certain games and certain carts, I think I'd almost certainly be going through Funstock and maybe just swallowing the fact that I've got to pay for it up front, just over the fact that at least I'm going to be guaranteed to get it. So yeah, it is frustrating. I know what it's like to order something and then have it not turn up, then it gets cancelled. It's never pleasant, especially for people that are collectors. But I do have to echo what Ryan said there, in that it's frustrating and be frustrated, but still try and get the normal version. Don't let it completely sour your experience, because it's really not worth it at the end of the day. It's frustrating, but it does sound like you said, Ryan and Mr. Derek there, it does sound like there was not a miscommunication, but Amazon just didn't remove the pre-order in time. And I know Crazy Burger said at the top, maybe they should just do another run. Yeah, maybe they should. Maybe that would have been, like you said as well, Derek, sort of give them the the screenshot showing that you pre-ordered it, and they can sort you out something that way. So I don't know. I don't think this is the end of the the special edition. I think there'll be some more printed for people. I'm almost certain of it, I think. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled, and as soon as we know anything, which will probably be through Derek, we'll let people know. So yeah, keep your ears to the ground. I don't think this will be the end of it at all. I think there'll be more to come for sure.
Well, I just feel a bit sorry for Evercade in a way, because whenever they have some positivity around something, like cartridges being released early or the Duke Nukem edition, there's always something that seems to get them a couple of days after. And it's like with the AI for the Duke Nukem, and people are really hyped for Full Void, and this is going to sour it for some people, and it's a real shame, because as I say, it's a really good game, and it's probably the best game that we're going to get on Evercade this year, in my opinion. And it's going to leave, it's going to frustrate a number of people who have had their special editions cancelled.
Yeah, as I say, and Out of the Bit are a fantastic group of people. So if you can support it by grabbing that standard edition, that would be greatly appreciated. I know by the team, and I looked at a few feeds today where different people were commenting and saying which ones they're looking forward to most out of the 6 cartridges. And Full Void, I think, pretty much cropped up in every single comment I saw. So, you're still going to go on the same epic grand adventure in Full Void, but as I say, unfortunately it will just be the standard edition. But in the same breath, we're showing Out of the Bit we can support them, and that we'd like them back next year. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, 100%. Okie dokie. So yeah, moving on then to our next topic, which is discussing the game of the month, which is ChuChu Mimic. As soon as someone said it last time, the Mimic bit, I thought, this has got to be a Dungeons and Dragons reference. It's normally a treasure chest, isn't it? That is it's a creature, a mimic that then has the creature inside it. And lo and behold, clicking on some images and seeing what the game's all about, there we are. It's literally the front cover of it is a treasure chest with the tongue and teeth. So let's start with Mr. Derek, because he almost certainly would have been able to have played this. So ChuChu Mimic, hit us. What's it about?
To give you a little bit of a history, just to start you off with how this game came around. Alistair Lowe, the creator of Flea and Tapeworm, was at a gaming con, and he got chatting with John Rigg, and they're both big fans of ChuChu Rocket on the Dreamcast. I don't know if anybody in the comment section has ever played that. And they wanted to try and create a game themselves, very similar. And they met again at a few more gaming cons, and they managed to put together this game called ChuChu Mimic, which is basically a tile-based puzzler. The aim is you have to get the knight to the treasure chest, if you can, of course, collecting as many coins as you can. So you might get all 3, you might get 2, you might get 1, depending on sort of the route the knight takes. Now, you'll encounter about 4 different knights. So, for instance, my favorite one is the blue knight. He can only go in straight lines, but he can jump holes. So, I just think that's fantastic. And as soon as I played that particular knight, I connected with it. There's the treasure chest now. Yeah, the cheeky old treasure chest. And he wants to eat all the knights. So, yeah, he wants, you to get them all there. And as you can see on the tiles there and the little torches on the walls. And, there's lots of different puzzles, 100 in total. And as you get to the last 10, you'll start to have to use all 4 knights. So then you've got to remember which one only goes right, which one can't jump, which one only goes in straight lines. So as you set up the tiles to try and get them there, you try and use their best abilities. And also you get crates, as I call them. It looks just a box. And when they hit these, depending on whether you put 1 below and 1 at the side, he might hit the 1 below, 1 at the side, and it might cause him to go up. So again, you have to sort of work out these puzzles to try and not only make the most of the area, but as I say, try and collect those coins as well. So certainly a very interesting game of the month. And so far, from what I've seen anyway, feedback-wise, a lot of people there are having a great deal of fun on it.
Interesting. Mr. Ryan, have you had an opportunity to play this?
I have played it, and everyone knows I'm not a huge fan of puzzle games who tune into this podcast. So it's not my genre of game. However, I do appreciate the graphics and the soundtrack. I think are really nice. Took me a while to even realize what I was doing. I could have done with some instructions or something, or maybe I just skipped over it at the start. I think it probably does tell you but I probably just kept pressing start or something just to get into the game.
You did a Dorbs and skipped the cutscene.
Yeah, I basically skipped the instructions. But once I figured out what I was doing, it is a nice puzzler. But I just haven't got the brain capacity to do these games. I just find them really hard. I love Flea by Alistair Lowe, and I really like Tapeworm as well. I think those games are really good. There is definitely an audience for this type of game, but unfortunately, I am the wrong audience. So I'm probably not the right person to be giving this a full review. It's like me, Ollie, giving you FIFA, the new FIFA game to review, for example. You're not gonna.
No.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm being as honest as I can here. But people will enjoy it, and I know people like Crazy Burger. He absolutely loves it. And we've chatted offline about this game, and he's well into it. He loves this style of game. So it's definitely there's an audience there, but unfortunately, it's not for me this time. But it's not to say that I won't go back to it in the future.
You will be surprised to know that I actually updated my VS recently, thinking surely that bug's now got to be gone. specifically so I could give this a quick blast in amongst the hecticness that has been my life in the last week. So I have not managed to play a great deal, but like you, Ryan, I'm a big fan of Alistair Lowe's other games. Really like Flea, really like Tapeworm a lot. And I do like a puzzle game. They're these perfect games for me where you can just sort of play 5 minutes if you just feel like, oh, I just want to play something for a couple of minutes and not really sort of get sucked into a Horizon Zero Dawn type story. So for me, this sort of game is perfect, and I'm not overly familiar with things like the sort of tile puzzle mechanic. So this is completely new for me. And the small amount that I have managed to play, I do really like. It really does make me think a little bit. You got to look at the route ahead, try and plan it best you can, try and hit those arrows as best you can to get as many of the coins. It is addictive from those first couple of levels. If you do miss a coin, you think, no, I've got to go back and do that again. I can't be missing coins. This is the whole point. So I'm looking forward very much over the next few weeks to putting in a little bit more time with it. I probably won't overdo it. I don't want to play it to death, because what I would like to do is play it to completeness when it's out and I can fully enjoy it properly there. But yeah, from what I've played so far, I kind of dig it. It's a new type of puzzle game for me. Yeah, interesting. I'm enjoying it. So I know Mr. Lowe is in the chat there. So yes, I think it's incredibly cool. I'd be interested to know what your next project is as Low Tech for sure. Is this something you're looking to explore more, or have you got some other ideas in the pipeline? Yeah, I kind of dig it, and it's one of the few times that I've been able to go, do you know what? I've played Game of the Month. Doesn't happen too often, but this time I made the extra effort for Alistair. So there we go. Made the extra effort for you, sir. You're gonna have to let me know if you've got some Tapeworm NES carts as well, because I need one to go with my Flea cart. Just going off on a tangent there because he's in the chat, and I can kind of check in with him there.
Just talking about Flea, that Indie Heroes 1 cart was absolutely solid, wasn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant.
What a
Twin
really
Dragons,
good,
or
yeah, what really good collection that was. That still holds up by itself now against other cartridges. It's really good, and Flea is such a great game. And if you've not got Indie Heroes 1, just pick it up, because there's some really good games on there.
It is. Yeah. It's phenomenal. I like Indie Heroes 2 as well. I know there's a couple of games on it that maybe aren't as good as others, but it's still a really good cart. Still, a buttload of great games on there. So, cool. He said in the chat there that there's still some tapeworms left. So yeah, definitely need one to hit with that 100%. Excellent stuff. So, moving swiftly on to our next topic, which is November is going to be a busy month for Evercade. 6 carts confirmed for November. So I'm taking an assumption here that some of the carts that were going to be in December have been brought forward. Which ones have been brought forward? I know you mentioned it earlier.
Yep, so we've got Demons of Asberg, and obviously Asterbros, and also Good Boy Galaxy and Witch and Whiz, which would have come out on December 15th and now coming out on the 28th with both Duke Nukem Collection 1 and Duke Nukem Collection 2. Also on that day, for those that have ordered the Atomic Versus console, we're expecting that then. And obviously people currently now are starting to receive their Super Pockets, and I've even heard of a couple of people already receiving their Full Voids. So they're certainly starting to get out in the wild. Busy month.
Very busy month. So I'd be interested to know in the chat how many carts has everyone got ready and solid for November? Has everybody gone all in? Have we got all the carts coming? This is a rare month for me where I've actually got quite a lot of Evercade carts coming. So I've obviously got my Duke Nukem pre-orders in. Don't know about that, mate. Don't know about that. I've got the Duke Nukem carts on pre-order. I really loved that Demons of Asterberg trailer, so that was straight on a pre-order. Obviously, Full Void. I think that's pretty much what I've got at the moment. I was really tempted by Good Boy Galaxy, but I think I might just have to wait because I don't know if I can put that in as an order this month or not. That just doesn't. I don't know if I can fit it in. What carts have you guys got? So let's go with Ryan. Have you got any of these 6 carts coming out for November?
I haven't got any pre-ordered at the moment, but I'm hoping that Father Christmas might bring me some. So yeah, that is my hope that the Duke Nukem carts will definitely be there, and I also hope that the other two, the Demons of Asterborg and the Good Boy Galaxy, hopefully I'll get those as well. I'm not really fussed on home computer heroes. There's nothing really on there that excites me, or there's no reason to sort of rush out and get that cartridge, but I'm sure I'll probably pick it up at some point. And Full Void, as I say, I did have a limited edition ordered, but as it was cancelled, I thought, well, I'll just leave it to the new year and pick up the standard edition as I've already played the game. Yeah, I have been good this year, Crazy Burger. I've yeah, you know, I've helped old ladies across the road and all sorts. So yeah, there should be lots of presents coming my way. But yeah, I haven't got anything on pre-order, but I have asked for some games for Christmas, so I won't be able to give reviews of anything until the new year. But 6 carts coming out at once is absolutely crazy, in my opinion. If you've ordered them, or in the same month, sorry, and you've ordered 2 Super Pockets and you've ordered that Atomic Edition VS, how on earth are you going to get the time to play any of this stuff? It's hard enough as it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of anticipating the end of the year being a little bit quieter on the things like the PS5 front. I can't think of anything off the top of my head like that's absolutely enormous that is a must-have that's coming out for these systems at the end of the year. So it's actually probably quite a good time to be releasing some of the bigger Evercade carts that I genuinely want to play for sure. So Mr. Derek, what have you got on order? Or that's a silly question, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is really moving on to be one of the busiest times of the year. And one thing I don't want to do is swamp myself in too many games. I quite often find then you end up spreading yourself a bit thin. You're playing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Whereas I like to actually apply myself and get tough on those games. So yeah, I mean, obviously I've got the special edition Full Voids and the Duke Nukems under pre-order, but I haven't actually pre-ordered Demons of Asberg or Good Boy Galaxy or anything yet. I do love a Metroidvania, absolutely love them, but honestly I've got a stack as long as my arm of Metroidvanias. So do I need any more, and will I put that time in before Christmas? That's the question. So if not, hopefully Funstock will do a nice 20% off for Boxing Day and New Year's, and then I can grab them up then. But yeah, I don't know. I'll actually grab them up for release because obviously I've got other things pre-ordered this month as well, like Shredder's Revenge Anniversary Edition, which will clash with the Duke Nukems. I mean, who will survive? Be very interesting. So yeah, so there's other things under pre-order this month. So I don't want too much, or it becomes I don't really want to play any of it. So yeah, I want to dedicate that time. So yeah, I haven't gone too pre-order crazy because obviously I wasn't quite anticipating they were going to pull the date forward. I thought, well, I've got to the middle of December, so you know, I can pre-order then and then play it over the new year. But yeah, and then all of a sudden they've all sort of piled in on top of each other, and yeah, it's caused a bit of a conundrum.
Okay. So yeah, so I think I've said I've got 4 on order. I don't know where I'm going to start. Well, probably whichever one comes through the door first, probably, and then just try and work forward from there. But there's just so much good stuff coming from them this month. It's absolutely bananas. And yeah, like I said, maybe it's good. Maybe this is a good time of year for them to have some big hitters because most of the big things for things like PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo have kind of hit. they've already hit or they're hitting in the next sort of week or two. I think the last thing from Nintendo that's due to come out is Mario RPG remake, and then that's it. Nothing for the rest of the year, I don't think, or anything of any great worth anyway. PlayStation, what have they had? They've had Spider-Man 2, that's already out.
FIFA.
Yeah, FIFA, Lies of P. They're kind of already out. All those big hitters are here. And then the same for Xbox. Starfield is probably their biggest game of the year, and that's out. People are playing it. It's meant to be very good. So yeah, maybe this is a good time for Blaze to sort of look to the future and sort of release good carts throughout the year, but save the end of the year for your big uns, because that's probably when people will have the most time to actually commit to them. So interesting. It's definitely, I don't think I've ever seen a month like it for Evercade in the last couple of years. This is definitely it feels like a big month for them.
It's a total of 18 games coming out in one go.
That's
so it's quite a lot, isn't it? Just for November. Someone's put in the chat, they should really space these things out better throughout the year. But then equally, I'm sure we've discussed this before. There's probably some marketing thing around releasing everything around Christmas, because that's when everyone picks these things up.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Lots of people in the chat, as we've sort of putting through, have gone all in on all the carts. Some people sort of holding off on others. Some people sort of holding out for maybe later in the year. But yeah, we're certainly spoiled for choice this time round. That is an absolute definite.
I wonder how many people are still going for a full collection of Evercade. I wonder, from 4 years ago or 3.5 years ago, from the people who got the initial 10, how many of those are still within the community and are still collecting every single cart, or have people sort of gone the way of picking and choosing now rather than going for a full set?
There's definitely got to be some full setters out there. There has to be, because it's just an inevitability of a collector's market, isn't it? There's definitely some people there. If anyone in the chat, if you got an Evercade originally on launch, there we go. So we've got Lamley Pie in there. Yeah, Dan Nastic, J South. Yeah, so there's definitely people there that started with the beginning, still going full cart, full collection. I mean, it's having a, what do they call it? Complete. I don't know. The full set collections, people. There's definitely a huge market for it, for sure. And I think, like Daub said years ago, whoever came up with the idea of sticking the number on the side of the box, that's the killer. As soon as there's a number on a box, that's it. Line them all up, and they don't line up in sequential order. You're missing ones. For some people, that's like, nope, can't do it. Need them all, even if they're rubbish. Need them all. So yeah, there's definitely, I've got the first 12, and then everything after that is very higgledy-piggledy. I would like them all, because I'm sure I would get round to playing it at some point, but there's definitely just stuff that I don't have major interest in, and I would prefer to pick up something that I do have interest in. So yeah.
To offer complete set at the moment, I think I've not got Delphine and I've not got Pico Arcade. So that's 2 on behind, and then these 6 that come out, that makes me 8 behind. So it's hard. Whenever I get near to having a complete set, a load more come out, and then I'm massively behind again, trying to claw my way back.
Yeah.
But at least we've got Techno's cartridge 10, which is going for crazy money now. So
it is. So we're in on that. We're quids in.
We are.
Excellent. So let's just go through the chat here. There's lots of people commenting here. So Mr. Vernon only got an Evercade 6 weeks ago, but intend to get the full set. 22 so far for 6 weeks. You are going hard, my friend. That is some good. Do you have the Technos 1 cartridge? And if you did you pay through the nose for it? It's still one I keep.
Sorry to interrupt you. Someone picked one up on Game the other day for $17.99.
Oh,
yeah, they must have had like store stock and put it online. They picked it up for $17.99.
What a bargain! What a bargain! Well, that's just like market value, isn't it? That's about what I'd pay for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, people paying through the nose for it. That's insane. If I ever come across a copy for $17.99, I am gonna buy it and we'll give it away on the channel. Like, if I ever see it for that value, I won't be able to leave it there. But at the same time, I'm not entirely sure I'd feel overly happy chuffing it. Yeah, but it's never going to happen, is it really? But if I do find a copy, there we go. We'll get it on here. So yeah, there's definitely some people there going full in. There's Mr. Lamoney Pie there sort of agreeing, but the super pockets are not part of it. Okay, interesting. Well, technically, it's not branded as an Evercade product, so that definitely seems to fit. Super Pocket, yep, Dan saying there, Super Pocket is an Evercade. Someone got it for $11.99. Jinkies. See, these deals are out there. You just got to keep your eyes peeled for it.
You've got to work the Facebook marketplace. If you can get on that's the place you're going to pick up that Technos collection bundled in with a handheld or something, and someone will be selling it for like 50 quid. That's the time to pounce.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Okay.
Crazy Burger's got no taste. Techno's one of my least favourite cards.
Oh,
Double Dragon 2 is brilliant. Super Double Dragon, brilliant. I'm not having that.
That's it. The gauntlet has been down. Ryan has thrown down his glove. He is ready to take you on, John. I have no doubt that won't be the last we'll hear from John on this topic tonight. So, sliding neatly into our last topic of this evening, thanks to some of the comments there, and that is talking about the Super Pockets early impressions. So this is people that have had hands on the product, that they have in some cases got it in hand as well, haven't they? Some people have got them in their homes, they are able to play them. Some very kind people over in the Hangout have been able to plonk some pictures up, give us a bit of a rundown as to how they think it works, how they think it runs. So yeah, Ryan, chuck us in there. What have you read and heard so far?
Well, someone within the Hangout posted a picture of the Super Pocket. I want to say on Saturday they received it, which is really early, really before the release date, but brilliant for that individual to get it so soon. And I think they even put in the comment, I forgot I even ordered this, and it just turned up. So I mean, even better. What a bonus to have on a Saturday. And as soon as he posted it, though, it was the same old questions, which you always get. Do the old cartridges fit okay? Is there light bleed? How's the battery? And that's before anyone even asked, what's it play like? How's the controls, etc. But I was pleased to say he said there was no light bleed, which is really positive. And he also said that the older cartridges, a little bit snug, but they still fitted in and they got out easily. Battery didn't seem to have any issues, but it's early days. But fingers crossed, hopefully, we're not going to have the same kind of issues as the EXPs unfortunately seem to have. So yeah, and from the pictures I saw, it looks a nice little handheld. So yeah, all positive, and that individual seemed happy with their purchase. And I've also seen Crazy Burger, and he's put in the chat here as well. Got my Capcom edition today. Video only live 1 hour ago. I'm very impressed with it. So excellent, and I'm sure Crazy Burger's tested all the cartridges, and he's done a really thorough playthrough on the device. So yeah, go check that out for sure. His link is in the description of this video, by the way.
Excellent. What I'm also going to do is, just while we're chatting there, just pulling up the video on another area. Let's cut that, and I can bung this in the chat here as well. So for anyone here, if I can get the command right, there we go. Bam! In the chat there for people. Head on over there. You'll be able to see Crazy Burger's review there. Obviously, do that after this video, of course. And then, yeah, dive on that. I will be jumping on that straight away after this myself as well. So, Excellent. Can't wait to see that. So, Mr. Derek, what have you been hearing?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people start to receive these trusty super pockets. Only Capcom ones at the moment. I haven't seen anybody with a Taito one yet, but yeah, certainly the Capcom ones have started to turn up. And yeah, I'm hoping really this is going some way to sort of taking a bit of the heat out of the whole Full Void incident, and people can move on a little bit, get gaming on those super pockets, and hopefully it'll it'll make things a little bit easier. There's obviously some great Capcom games on there. I've been hearing it's a little bit difficult to see the ones that are in the tape mode. I don't know myself. I haven't personally experienced it, but hopefully people will be able to get a good level of enjoyment, or perhaps like myself in the loft, they've still got an old Game Boy magnifying glass that they can apply to it and see the game a little bit easier. So yeah, I shall have to go for a little scramble in the loft, I think. But yeah, I mean, hopefully people are really enjoying their experiences once they arrive. And I'll certainly be interested to see some of the Taito ones and see what people make of them. As I say, there's a lot of Taito games on there, but they are very, very difficult. So hopefully they can use some of those new switches that allow you to set it to easy. And hopefully they'll do quite well. I mean, obviously, I grew up in the older days when you just had to put up with it how it was, and I was fortunate to complete those games and to do really well. But obviously, I appreciate in modern day people have time constraints, and perhaps they haven't got the level of perseverance that we had back then. So obviously, those easy modes will make it a lot more simplistic for them.
Excellent. I can't remember, who was it? Was it somebody managed to play them at EGX? No. What was the most recent thing?
Crazy Burger played one at Blackpool, didn't he? And then the Sega Guru played one somewhere as well.
Yeah. What's the other convention? There was IGN versus something. I can't think what that was in London.
Blackpool?
I should know. No, it was
I know
London.
the one you're on about, but yeah, I can't remember the name.
It's 4 letters or something.
4 letters. I can't remember what it is. 4 letters either way. But a lot of the people that were playing it there, the one thing that I was, I guess, worried about was the build quality, because it's a £50 product, and that's I guess the sort of, it's the budget end of everything, really, isn't it? And so my main concern was going to be build quality. WASD, there we go. Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Yeah, and the people that played it there, the thing that was surprisingly coming forward was the build quality. The build quality is very good. The material feels good. It doesn't feel cheap. When you look at the product, it doesn't look like a 50 quid product. A lot of people have said actually it feels a little bit more premium than 50 quid. And that actually the screen is fantastic as well. So, it's ticking all the boxes. And I'm very, very pleased that it is ticking those boxes, because there's a few people that have got them on order. There's a few people that have got them in hand now. So there's clearly a market for this product. I want it to do well, because if it does well, then we're going to be the only people that benefit from this. So I can see in the chat that lots of people have said WASD. Thank you, everybody. So yeah, I still don't think it's a product for me yet. Maybe it will become a product for me. I don't know. I can see the thing I could see it being useful for is, I don't have an EXP yet, and I say yet because I do really want an EXP. I just need to wait for that deal to come back in stock again, which I don't think it is. But yeah, I could see it being in a period of something like November, for instance. If we're going up to London like we do for work quite a lot, right? Instead of having to take an EXP with you, being able to take a Super Pocket with you and a selection of cards, it takes up infinitely less room in your bag. You could play it on the train without it being really invasive. So that for me is where I would see it being of use for sure. So I don't know. I'm slowly starting to change my mind about it, and I would have to get the Taito one, just purely because eventually I will get an EXP, and that's got all the Capcom stuff on it. So there'd be no point in having that twice. I don't know. I can feel myself flip flopping about it now. I'm almost convincing myself that it's something that will be of interest. So I'm going to be really looking forward to seeing how everybody else feels about this product as it's now starting to find its way out into the wild for you, Ryan. His favorite phrase in the world there. And yeah, just see what people think of it. Have a look at people's deep dives with it. Yeah, really looking forward to jumping off of this and going and seeing what Crazy Burger thought, because yeah, like you say, Ryan, he always does a good deep dive. It's never a 5-minute video. It's always a really good solid review. So yeah, quite looking forward to that. Okie dokie. So we can, unless other people have got stuff they want to talk about in terms of Super Pockets, we can jump.
All I was going to say on the Super Pocket, it's the kind of thing that I would buy my dad for Christmas. That's the market where I see a Super Pocket, because games like Space Invaders, he can easily just pick up and play. He would need to put his glasses on because he can't read a menu in a restaurant, so he's not going to be seeing that Super Pocket screen without his glasses on. But that's where I see the market for these, because I know what you're saying about being able to carry it in a bag and it's easier, but I take my Steam Deck in my rucksack to work, which is an absolute beast. So
Yeah.
the portability of something isn't really a selling point for me. But I could definitely see my dad playing a Super Pocket, and being on a train somewhere, or just being on an aeroplane playing Space Invaders. So yeah, that's where I see these devices, not necessarily for the Evercade market. And I kind of see what they're trying to do with this in a way which I couldn't see a few months ago, but I can kind of see the market that they're focusing on. I'm not saying they're all aimed at old OA pensioners who have long since retired at all, but I do definitely see the market.
Yeah, it's interesting. Going to be very exciting to see how it runs. Looking forward to seeing what other people think there. Right, so people, we're going to head over to the starred comments now. So anyone that has a question, please feel free to throw it in the chat quickly now, and we will do our best to get to it. So the first question was from Brazar. This was earlier in the show, and I know a few people responded to them in the chat. As someone without an Evercade, so much to collect, never enough money, what might convince a newcomer to buy one, and which version is best in your opinions? So let's go to Derek first on this one. Which Evercade product do you think is the best in your opinion, and what do you think would sway someone to start a collection?
Well, I suppose it depends on budget. I mean, obviously, if you're limited on budget, you could pick up a Super Pocket and just see how it goes. You could get a couple of cartridges, see if it's your thing, whether you're interested in home console, home computer, or arcade games, and just see if that's something you enjoy. If it's the Evercade product you want to pick up, I would go for the Evercade Versus console, because 100% is multiplayer. You've got access to all the multi-cart hidden games. And to be honest, as I say, it very rarely goes wrong. You take it out of the box and it does what it says on the tin. So yeah, for myself, yeah, I would definitely go Evercade Versus console.
Okay. Ryan, what would you say is your version of choice, and what do you think would sway people?
I would agree with what Derek's just said. I personally, if you've not got anything, I'd pick up a VS. It's a really good console. You can play it with your friends, family. It comes packed with, I believe you can get one with 2 cartridges packed in with it. Is it Technos and Atari? Which is about £109, I think, on Amazon at the moment. And I know I'm not saying that's affordable to everyone, but you could probably pick one up secondhand on eBay for less than that. And as Derek said, the VS is a fairly solid piece of hardware. I've not seen many with issues, if any at all, to be honest.
Yep. Okay. I would be inclined to agree on the VS. It's definitely the thing that I would say I get the most use out of in terms of my Evercade, but I do really like handheld gaming. I'm a big fan of the Switch and the Vita, and so by proxy on that, I do still play my original handheld a fair bit. If you know there's a whole bunch of carts that you're going to like and that you're going to buy, and the handheld way is more your thing, I would maybe just go that extra bit and go for the EXP, purely because of that screen. The screen on the original handheld is fine, and you can probably pick that up quite cheaply. But if you want that slightly nicer quality, go for the EXP. Cart wise, I think the things that would sway it for most people, I would say Indie Heroes 1 and 2, Xenocrisis and Tanglewood, and just look at what's coming out in November. That for me would be your big sales.
I would even say Interplay 1 and 2, just because Earthworm Jim 1 and 2 are games people know.
Yeah.
And yeah, they can be quite tricky at times, but you've got save states which make them a bit more playable, and you can use cheats on them as well, as I did, to get unlimited lives and all the weapons, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, and their cartridges you can pick up fairly cheap. I've seen them on eBay for under a tenner, Interplay 1 and 2. And then let's not forget like Mega Cat Studio 1. I always think that's a very underrated cartridge. And again, you could probably pick that up cheap as well.
So yeah, in short, all of it just depends what you. It just depends what type of gamer you are, whether you prefer a handheld or a console, and just running from there with it. So yeah, excellent stuff. So next one is from our good friend Mr. Skipkins. Could the Amazon Full Void Special Edition debacle mean that future Evercade Special Editions will only be available via Funstock? I mean, personally, yes. I think, as I said earlier in the show, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. The only thing that would suck is that if you don't necessarily have the funds to pay for your pre-order up front, then you could potentially miss out, which would be a shame. But yeah, I could easily see that being a thing. Personally, I don't know how you guys feel. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, I was actually surprised to see them on Amazon. When I found out that they were available on Amazon, I was surprised, because it was my understanding that it was a Funstock exclusive. And I fully expected it only to be available on Funstock, because none of the other limited edition handhelds or VSs have ever been available on Amazon. So I was surprised. I would like to think that they would use Amazon again, but the communication between both the companies be better. And I know Amazon are absolutely huge, so it's probably impossible to talk to anyone there, because they are probably one of the biggest companies in the world. But it would be a shame if they didn't use Amazon again. But this is going to put a lot of people off ordering special editions from Amazon in future, and it will push more people to Funstock. And I know a gripe of mine is you've got to pay up front, but there is always PayPal credit, which is like 0%, and you can pay it over however many months. So if you want to pay it all up in one go, then you could go down that route.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, it's a good shout. Derek, what do you think? Could this be the end of special editions for Evercade on Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great idea to try it with other retailers, and I will just say the only problem that was experienced was there at Amazon, Video Games Plus, Game in Spain, all that sort of thing. It's all been fine. So yeah, it was just a miscommunication there, and I don't see why they wouldn't farm it out to other retailers again in the future. Yeah, I mean, it's naturally going to put some people off, but it's just one of those hiccups in life. Next time you could order it and it could all be fine. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's a conversation I need to sort of broach with Blaze, but I don't see the reason of just keeping it in house at Funstock. I think using the other retailers has opened it up to so many other people and given them an opportunity, especially people that perhaps only order from things like Video Games Plus. So yeah, I'd like to see it continue in the future.
Yeah. Just before we jump to the next one there, I noticed that Lamney's just put up there. Funstock's reasonings for Instapay. It is a very common thing across a lot of platforms that for pre-ordering that you pay up front. It generally happens, from my experience, with slightly smaller businesses, not businesses that are independent or minuscule tiny businesses, but certainly when you get to places like Amazon, who are just behemoths, or Game, for instance, then they can just take all the pre-orders without charging you, knowing full well how much money they're going to cough up to buy them in order to get the games in the shelves, and they will shift them eventually. But certainly there's some, I collect TCG cards as well, and there are some places that I buy my cards from. If I'm going to buy a booster box and pre-order it 6 months in advance, I have to pay for that in advance, and it is purely just so that the businesses don't come, from my understanding, completely out of pocket, because they're not the biggest of retailers, and the money will just help to make sure that the pre-orders can actually be met and satisfied properly. But I wouldn't know Funstock's reasonings, but I would imagine it's probably something like that. But yeah, it's not uncommon for certain companies to ask for their pre-order money up front at all. Sucks, but happens sometimes. Okie dokie. So the next question is actually from Lamney Pie, and I'm presuming this is because we've all had a little sip from something this evening, and that is, when is the drinking night? Christmas special. We'll make that a bit of a little tipple one. So just for more curiosity, Ryan, what have you been drinking tonight?
I've been drinking Tiny Rebel Pump Up the Jam.
Nice.
Which is their jammy donut beer, which is really nice. So
yeah,
I got them for my birthday in August, but I hadn't opened the box, so I thought, I'll crack one open this evening.
Beautiful.
And, it's very nice, and I think the Christmas special is going to be the 18th of December, going on the fortnightly rotation. I believe it. Otherwise, we'll be here Christmas Day on the 25th of December. So that could be very
busy
interesting.
That'd be a busy day.
Yeah,
excellent. Yeah, people want to be there for the 18th. There's things afoot. Hopefully, it's going to be good, and you're going to want to tune in for that one, specifically live. Mr. Derek, what have you been drinking tonight?
I made myself a shandy before I came on air. Yeah, I thought I'd take it down a little bit tonight. Yeah, just being Monday, and just had a lovely ice cold shandy, and that went down a treat.
Beautiful. I think I might have finished mine before I even went on air, but I had in my Shining inspired beer glass there from I can't remember the name, Wayland. I can't remember either way. Cracking glass. So I was drinking a lemon sour beer this evening. I do like my strange beer, and sour beer is a big tick for me. So there we go. 18th of December, Lamney, drinking night. Bring the beers.
And hopefully we can do some kind of phone in or get people to jump on and
100%
get involved. Yeah, we have to figure out a way to do it, but we it'd be good to get people from the community involved.
Definitely. We'll give it some thought. We'll make it work. That's a really good idea. I like that. Next one is from Mr. Dan Nastic. I think you're very excited to learn what will be paired with Indie Heroes 3, of course. Yeah, I don't know what is going to be paired with Indie Heroes 3. I can't even think about 2024 yet. We're about to hit the busiest bit of 2023, and I think it's going to take some time to come down from. But yeah, the 24 roadmap, I'm going to be interested to know, because this year's been pretty mega. I have to admit, this year has been a great year for Evercade. Some incredible games, some incredible stuff that I never thought would ever happen, and it has happened and is happening. So yeah, 24 can only be just as exciting. I'm sort of watching Derek's eyebrow there to see if there's any hints or any little tidbits and teasers of what could be coming in 24. But there we are in Television 3, Lamney Pie for you specifically, Ryan. That is.
If that happens, I'm done with Evercade. If we get in Television 3, I draw the line at that. Surely we can't have another cartridge of Intellivision games. Surely,
of course we could. Of course we could. In fact, I'm going to encourage it. In Television 3, let's go. and I'd
No.
like, yeah, and I'd like a little dedication on the box for Ryan, just in the corner. That would just, oh, the little sweet spot that would give.
Could be my limited special edition, could it? In Television 3, Ryan's special edition from the Total Evercade podcast.
Oh, it'd be so good.
that would
Absolutely
be
spot on.
Or even a Super Pocket, and then Television Super Pocket.
An Amico Super Pocket. There we are. I've said the word that should not be said.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't.
Okie dokie. Okay, Mr. Goldtooth coming in here with a question here, and I think this might come off of the interview that we did with Tess, where he destroyed a game. Well, actually, he destroyed a film live on air, a UMD, and it was it's traumatic. And that is, dear Derek, if you had to rip smash one Evercade car out of existence, what would it be? Ryan, you're not allowed to answer.
Oh my goodness gracious. That's really tricky, isn't it? Goodness gracious. I don't know, really.
Well, instead of maybe rip it up, what's the least?
I'd probably get rid of Atari Arcade.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Atari Arcade. Any specific reason, or just it's the one that came to your mind first?
Well, obviously we've got the one game which wasn't the right game on the cartridge, and yeah, some of them are a bit too old, even older than me. So yeah, I mean, I can think of thousands of fantastic Atari Arcade games that I would have loved on there, from Berserk and things like that. But yeah, unfortunately, yeah, some of those are just a bit too old to even reminisce at all. So yeah, for me, I have the least nostalgia to a majority of those games. So yeah, not for me, really.
Ryan, do I dare even ask? Do I need to ask?
No, let's move on, because I've ranted about this cartridge so much. Everyone knows my feelings. Let's move on.
Okay, so I would probably pick the Atari Collection 1. Is that the first one? Just purely because there's Atari games on everything. Doesn't mean they're bad. It just means you can get them on everything. There's an Atari collection for every system going. So it's probably my least played. But yeah, doesn't mean they're bad. Just means it's you can get it on many other systems. So I could do that without having to get rid of a decent cart. Okie dokie. And last one of the evening from Mr. Crazy Burger. What is everyone's favorite gaming genre? He definitely loves a puzzler. So, Mr. Derek, what would you say is your favorite genre of games?
Well, years ago, I would have said it was platformers, and I certainly love a bit of Super Mario and things like that, and Earthworm Jim. But these days, I'm more into my Metroidvanias. So, yeah, I would say that's definitely where my interest is currently.
Excellent. Mr. Ryan, favorite genres?
I like wrestling, WWE games.
Yep.
Football games, Football Manager, FIFA. In terms of Evercade, what's Elwood's Awakening? What would you class that as? Platform game?
It's like a platformer with a bit of RPG-ness to it.
Yeah, I like that. Red Dead Redemption 2, that type of game, whatever that, like open world sort of thing. I don't know. I'm like weird with my genre of games. I play all sorts, really. I've not got a specific. If I had to choose one game to play ever, it would probably be like FIFA or something like that. But I do kind of float around all sorts of games, really.
Yeah, because it's weird. Because one of my favorite genres. Is it my favorite genre? I don't know. I flip flop whether it is or it isn't. But yeah, so RPGs are big ones for me, and I know for you, Ryan, like playing an RPG might not be necessarily a big thing, but you really liked Stick of Truth. And in fact, I remember talking to you so much about Stick of Truth and just how funny it was. And yet it's about as RPG as it gets. It's turn-based combat and collecting various things to level your character up and all that good stuff. So it's definitely, I think, the content around the genre that can make a game particularly splendid. But I think if I had to pick a genre that was going to be that's the only type of genre of game I would ever play ever again. It would probably have to be something in the horror place, maybe survival horror, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Tormented Souls, all of these sorts of things. I can't get enough of horror games. They're too good. They're too scary, and it's like controlled fear. It's all the best bits of a horror movie, but you're playing it, so you're in control of the character. And yeah, nothing quite beats that. So yeah, more horror games on Evercade. I'd be quite up for that, definitely. Lots of people chucking in the chat there some of their favorite genres. We've got fighting in there. I know that's a particular favorite of Tim's. Yeah, loads of stuff on the go. Racing games. Yes, we do need to see more racing games from Mr. Skipkins there. You did your good top 5 on the last episode.
Yes, because with me, I'm not really a huge fan of first-person shooters, but on my Steam Deck I picked up Call of Juarez Gunslinger for like 89p, which is a game that's 10 years old, and I've been like well into that. If you've not got it, it's such a good game. It's got it's like narrated as you're going through, and like the character you are is telling his story to his friends or family, and it's such a good game, and that's really got me engrossed. And as I say, I'm not really a big fan of first-person shooters, but I'm finding this really, really enjoyable. And for 89p, you can't argue.
No, I think most games are worth 89p, even the bad ones.
Well, not all of them. Not all of them.
No, I don't know. 89p.
No, not all of them.
I shan't ask which ones. Shan't ask. We have reached the end, gentlemen. We have reached the end of episode 19. Have I played Tormented Souls? It's like, yes, I have. I haven't played it to completion, but yes, I love the fact that it's got your fixed camera, and the controls are very much like old school Resident Evil. It's cool. It's very, very cool. I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to going back in and really really going through it. There's some great horror games coming out, so yeah, definitely a high point for me.
Can I just give us a little plug here? Because Vernon says he loves point and click like Leisure Suite Larry. We had the creator of Leisure Suite Larry on this channel about 2 years ago. So if you go back for our videos, we had a live interview with him.
We did.
Which is really cool.
It is. So yes, Mr. Vernon, jump through the channel. You will find it. It will be in a playlist somewhere. Very cool guy. Yeah, really nice guy. Unfortunately, I think I was ill for that one, so I didn't get to speak to him. But yeah, he is excellent. Okie dokie. So before we sign off, first of all, thank you everyone in the chat for a really enjoyable episode. It's been a really busy chat. Everyone in the chat's been fantastic. Some great opinions coming through there. Thank you to all the new people. You are obviously very, very welcome here. Please do hit that subscribe button so that you can keep up to date with all of our other videos, and of course be up to date for the next Total Evercade podcast. So welcome everybody.
Which are fortnightly. And we've kept this going fortnightly for 19 episodes now, so we will be back in 2 weeks again.
We absolutely will. There'll be more fun and frolics to be talking about, I'm absolutely certain. Will I have my full void by then? I might.
Yeah,
that'd be exciting. I'd actually be able to talk about it. That'd be great. Yes, so please do consider hitting that subscribe button if you are new here, because that helps us out a lot. Also, if you've been here and have watched it in any shape or form, hit that little thumbs up button as well, because that just lets us know that you've been here. If you're finding us through the infamous YouTube algorithm, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. We have lots of other stuff going on the channel, as well as Total Evercade Podcast. For anyone that is looking for a great place to speak to other like-minded Evercade fans, do head over to the Evercade Hangout on Facebook. It's a very fast moving group, lots of people joining very regularly. You're allowed to have all your opinions on there, whether they're positive or slightly negative. That's absolutely fine. The only thing we ask on there is that you don't be a dick. People that are obnoxious or whatnot will get removed, but you will be free to say what you would like. So do head on over to the Evercade Hangout. And then lastly, everyone, please do head on over to Twitter or X. Is it called X now? or is it Twitter? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
It is
Unfortunately,
X.
It's actually called X. Okay, so that would be sound different. Head on over to X and make sure, if you're not already, you're following Sir Top and Hat on Twitter there. Pretty much all the news you will ever need on a very regular basis for everything Evercade will come from that Twitter channel. So please do head on over there. If you're not, you're missing out. And yeah, so all that is left is for either me or Ryan to hit the outro, because I know we did it last time and
I will press it this
it
time.
went a bit twiddly up, didn't it? So I will leave that for Ryan. So yes, just thank you all again for tuning in. Really appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you all in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks.
So good evening, everybody.